Okay guys, I wanted to give you some examples just as a reminder today of what we worked on yesterday. Okay, so the first example I want to go through with you is k squared equals negative 8k plus 14. Okay, first step, always get it equal to 0. Set everything equal to 0. So we need to add 8k to both sides, and we need to subtract 14 from both sides. So what we end up with is k squared plus 8k minus 14 equals 0. Okay? Okay. So we after we get it set equal to 0, we want to find our discriminant. We have to know that a is 1, we have to know that b is 8, and we have to know that c is negative 14. Okay? To find our discriminant, do you remember what the discriminant is? That's b squared minus 4ac. b squared is 64 minus 4 times 1 times negative 14. So I have 64 minus 4 times 1 times negative 14, and that is 120. Okay, 120, as you'll remember from your worksheet yesterday, is not equal to 0. It is greater than 0, and it is not a square root, so we should get 2 irrational roots. Okay, we should get 2 irrational roots. So we start with our quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I have x equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 120. Remember, I already did that right here, so I can just substitute that in. All over 2. X equals negative 8 plus or minus. Now, remember what we talked about yesterday when it comes to things like this. I don't know the square root of 120, but I know that 120 is divisible by 4. Okay? I know that the square root of 120 is divisible by 4. So I know it's 4 times 30. And I know the square root of 4, and I know the square and I don't know the square root of 30, so I can rewrite this as 2 root 30. And all that is being divided by 2. Okay? So from here, I see that everything in the numerator is divisible by the denominator, so I go ahead and factor a 2 out of each number in the numerator. So if I factor a 2 out of each number in the numerator, I get negative 4 plus root of 30 all over 2. And I know that 2 divided by 2 is 1. So x equals negative 4 plus or minus, root 30. Okay, you have any questions about that? If so, ask each other very quietly, or ask me when you get back, or when I get back. Okay? Now, some of you write big like I do, and you're not going to have enough room on the paper that the Mrs. Weems gave you today, or whoever your sub is today. Whoever the sub is, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And if that happens, just go ahead and do your work on notebook paper. That's fine with me. Just keep it with the original paper. Okay? Another example that I'd like to share with you. 3n squared plus n equals negative 11. Okay? First thing I need to do is get it equal to 0, so I need to add 11 to both sides. 3n squared plus n plus 11 equals 0. In order for me to be able to solve this, I need to know a, b, and c. A is 3, b is 1, and c is 11. I need to find the discriminant. b squared minus 4ac. b squared is 1 minus 4 times 3 times 11. And I know 4 times 3 times 11 is 132. So 1 minus 132 is negative 131. Okay, from our work from yesterday, we know that the discriminant being negative 131, it's not 0 and it's not greater than 0, it is less than 0. So I will be having 2 complex roots as my answer. 2 complex roots. So in my answer, I should have an I as part of my answer. Okay? So now I want to solve it using the formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I have x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 131 over 6. Remember, we did this already up here when we were finding our discriminant, so I can just substitute it in there. Negative 131, it's not divisible by 4 because it's not even. It's not divisible by 9 because I checked. It's not divisible by 16. It's not divisible by 25. So I'm thinking this number is not divisible by any prime number. So this, we only have one more step that we can do. And we know the square root of negative 131 is the same as negative 1 times 131. So I get negative 1 plus or minus. The square root of 1 is I. I don't know the square root of 131, so I leave it over 6. That's as far as I can go. That's the answer. Okay? Let me do a couple more for you. K squared minus 20 equals 4k. Okay? So we have to get it equal to 0. So we subtract 4k from both sides. We get 12k squared minus 4k minus 20 equals 0. A is 12, B is negative 4, C is negative 20. So I go find my discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 16 minus 4 times 12 times negative 20. Okay? Be real careful when you're putting something like that in your calculator, because you have 16 minus 4 times 12 times negative 20. Make sure you have that in there. And we get 976. 976. Now, 976 is a positive number, so it's greater than 0. It's not a perfect square, though, so I'm going to get 2 irrational roots. Okay? 2 irrational roots. So let's put it in the formula. X equals negative b. Remember, if b is already negative, when you put it in the formula, it's a positive. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? So I get x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 976 all over 24. Okay? 976 is divisible by 4, but 976 is also divisible by 16. And we want to find the biggest squared number that is divisible by. It's actually 16 times 61. So when I take the square root of 16, I get x equals 4 plus or minus. I'm taking the root of 16, which is 4. I bring that out, and I don't know the square root of 61. All over 24. Now what I hope you see is that each of the numbers in the numerator is divisible by 4. So I'm going to factor a 4 out of each of the terms. So x equals 4. When I factor a 4 out of the real term, I end up with 1. When I factor a 4 out of the imaginary term, I just have the square root of 61. And all that is over 24. Now this time this doesn't simplify to 1, but it does simplify. 4 goes into 24 6 times, so that's a 1, and that is a 6. So what we end up as our answer is 1 plus or minus the square root of 61 over 6. Okay? Hopefully you're remembering this from yesterday. If you weren't here, you're probably not remembering this from yesterday. But hopefully this will help you a little bit on your work. There is a video from yesterday, so please make sure you go watch it if you were not here, or if you're still struggling on this a little bit. Okay? Last example for you today. 4p squared minus 78 equals 11p. Okay? So I need to get it set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 11p from both sides. 4p squared minus 11p minus 78 equals 0. So a is 4, b is negative 11, and c is negative 78. So I need to come find the discriminant. B squared is 121 minus 4 times a times c. So 121 times 4 times negative 78. Oops, I put something in wrong. Sorry. 4 times negative 78 is 1369. And the square root of 1369 is, oh, we're not there yet, sorry. 1369 is a positive number, so it's greater than 0, and it is a perfect square. Okay, the square root of it is actually 37. So we should get 2 rational roots. 2 rational roots. I didn't know 1369 was a perfect square. I just checked it. Okay, I really did. I just put it in my calculator, figured it out. Okay, so now we do the formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I have x equals 11 plus or minus the square root of 1369 over 8. I have 11 plus or minus 37 because I took the square root of 1369 and got 37, so that root sign is not there any longer, all over 8. Now I have one more step to do. I have to say 11 plus 37, and that's 48, divided by 8 is 6. Then I have to say 11 minus 37 divided by 8. And that's going to be a decimal or a fraction, depending on how you write it, negative 3.25. Okay? I will be here after school today if you have any questions. I hope you have a wonderful day. And like I said, I'll see you after school if you have any questions. Have a great day.